Dispatch here on the SDH Network. I'm Madison Cruz. Joining with me is one of the voices of Atlanta United in Jason Longshore. We're here to get you ready for Atlanta United hosting NYCFC this Saturday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Jason, finally back at the Benz. Very nice, especially coming off of that 2-2 draw against Cincinnati over the weekend. And Ronnie Deila said it best, I think. It was a result that you going into it initially, you say, oh, a tie and getting a 1 point on the road, that's perfect. But with the way it all played out, it kind of just feels a little frustrating.
Yeah, conflicted. It maybe is the way you come out of that one. It's a good point to take. Anytime you go to Cincinnati and get something out of it, that's a good point to bring home with you. There were a couple more on the table at various points. You couldn't quite get it, but then you almost got nothing, and you got something out of it. So you have to find those positives, build momentum. You've got 3 straight coming up at home. You need to get some points in these games. But look, it's not so much about like home away. It's about continuing to play better. And I think what you're seeing from this team each and every week is longer periods of strong play. But you have to get rewards from those longer periods of strong play. And we're not seeing as much of that. I feel like it's starting to tick in the right direction. Needs to continue to get there.
Well, we're here today's training session, Tuesday's session of the week, and had the chance to watch the entire session. Very long session, but gorgeous day, so none of us can really complain about it, which is very nice. But Jason, what did you see from what they were working on today?
Yeah, it's small numbers today because you still have a lot of guys away on international duty. You had some of the Atlanta United 2 players join in and really provide a valuable opportunity to work against a different group, to kind of keep your first choice group that you have at the moment working against a smaller, different group. And one of the things they focused on was building out of the back against a specific shape from NYC, I would assume, or just in general, trying to build up out of the back and be clean with it. We had the chance to talk to Mateusz Klich and ask him about why that's important. You know, a lot of people will say, you're under pressure, just lump it long. Why should you build out of the back? Why important is it? Here's what Klich had to say.
I mean, probably outside of defending, obviously the most important part, because you need to get the ball to the front four as soon as possible and as clean as possible, and playing from behind as we want to do. It's hard, but when you keep it simple and when you give options and when you have good connection, it helps a lot. And we have to work on it to be more patient and more clear, and because we turn over too many balls. But yeah, again, same thing. We need probably more time.
Yeah, Jason, really interesting stuff from Mateusz Klich. Finally back at training after having a couple of weeks where he was out due to pneumonia and then obviously picking up the injury as well. So glad to see him back out there on the pitch with the guys, but also great words from him as well.
Yeah, when you're playing the way that Atlanta wants to play, they want more possession than they've been getting. One of the ways you do that, one of the ways you maintain more control, is building out of the back properly. And when you do it cleanly and you eliminate defenders behind you, I think Mateusz called it playing from behind. It's just the differences in translation. When you do that and you play through a group, in this case it was 5, okay, they're going to recover, but they're going to be chasing from behind. You have the opportunity in the way that you're positioned to get a 6v5 going the other way. You like those odds. You like how that can build. Then your 2 central midfielders can continue to chase up and join in while their guys try to recover. If you can eliminate defenders by passing through them and then they've got to try to recover and catch up, you're going to have an advantage. That's why you don't just always lump it long. Sometimes you're going to have to. Look, that's part of the game. But you try to play through defenders to give yourself better odds going the other way. And the more you do that in a game, we can sit here and talk about the tactics of it. The more you do that, it's demoralizing to an opponent. Then they start to say, well, I can't step up and press. I've got to drop back, and then you can play. So it's a very valuable exercise to build up out of the back cleanly and create opportunities going the other way.
In media availability day, we also caught up with Cayman Togashi as well. He talked to the media just a little bit about that game against Cincinnati and also his connections moving forward into the match, and here's what he had to say.
Playing the 10 role, is that something you're comfortable with?
ナンバー10のポジションは、どうですか？
そうですね。もちろんやったことありますし、自分はどっちかっていうと、ボールが来て何かするというよりも、その運動量で、10番に入った時はチームに貢献するようには意識してますし、もちろんその間のライン間に受けて、流れを作るっていうのもやってきてはいます。
I used to play in the role, number 10 role. but I'm not the type of the guy to get the ball. I was more like I'm a mobility type of the players, and finding the gap in between the defenders' line. So that's what I was thinking to perform and contribute for the team at that moment.
How have you seen those connections from preseason up until last game as well really grow in your eyes?
プレシーズンからその今この最後の試合、自分の中でどういうような成長を感じてますか？
そうですね、より選手の特徴が分かってきたので、その中でどうやったら、仲間を生かせるかっていうのと、どの選手がどういうボールを持ったら、どのタイミングで自分が動き出せばボールを呼べるかとか、よりプレシーズンよりはっきりしているところはあるので、そこは連携面のところで自分としては手応えを感じてきてます。
I'm getting to know the players, the personalities, what type of the players, what type of the pass come out when that player gets the ball. So that's a huge improvement from preseason to now. So and using in the game moment. So.
Also, again, hearing from Cayman as he checked into the match early for Tristan Moyamba in that match against Cincinnati. Came in and had a huge impact, brought a little bit of a spark to the team that we saw.
Yeah, look, I think we talk about formations a lot of the time and positions and think guys are rigid and they can't play different spots. I loved what he said about playing the 10. He's got some experience doing it, but he's a different kind of 10. You're not going to play through him. You're not looking for him to be a playmaker kind of 10. It is that mobility. It's that movement. He kind of becomes a second forward in that. So it changes the way that the pieces fit. And I thought the team around them really reacted well to that. The spacing looked good. And he brought a ton of energy. And I think at that point in the half, you never want to make a first half sub in those conditions when Tristan Moyamba gets hurt. But late in the first half, kind of need a jolt of energy somehow. That helped. I thought it was a big factor in turning the game, not just because of the throw-in, but his energy, his pressing, his nonstop movement off the ball was a really good spark for this team. And as much as Will Riley gives you a new option, if you're Ronny Deila and you can play him and trust him in situations, I think the same is for Cayman Togashi. I think you can see that you can use him in these roles and he can be very effective and help the team play better.
He brought a spark. Also, too, I feel like we have to mention Will Riley as well. We talked a lot about him, especially in ASD last night. Talked about him on the post-game show as well after that Cincinnati match. But now you're adding a new addition to already this great midfield core that you have for Atlanta United. You're now adding a really young Will Riley who can come in and really hold it down.
When young players get an opportunity, they have to earn the trust of the guys around them. And you could watch in this game pretty quickly, you saw guys trust that Riley's not going to lose the ball, that he's going to be in the right positions. I thought he got better and better as the game went on. I wasn't the only one who thought he might get subbed out at halftime because of the yellow card. I love that Ronny Deila didn't even consider it. He had the belief in Will Riley to get the job done and play on a yellow, and he somehow got better in that second 45. You know, as he said, you don't want to give up 2 goals to Evander in that run of play. That is on the central midfielders. That is something that you want to see continue to improve. But I love the response. I thought you saw him popping forward in more and more dangerous opportunities to go chase the game, and he's a big factor in the game turning around and you getting the point.
Well, you're going to need a lot of that energy, especially this weekend going up against NYCFC, but you're back at home finally at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That match is going to start at 7:30 p.m., and pregame coverage will start on 92.9 The Game starting at 6:30 p.m. with myself and Abe Gordon, and then at 7:30, we'll toss it over to the voices of Atlanta United in Mike Conti and Jason Longshore.